Good afternoon, Ateneo. Welcome to the second University Town Hall meeting with Father Bobby Yap, SJ, our University President. I'm Father John G. Sumpaico, and for this afternoon, I will be the moderator for the community discussions. We're truly happy to see everyone again virtually. Even during crises, the university continues with its core mission of educating our youth. 2021 also marked a lot of changes in our leadership, with a number of new appointments to lead our various hubs and academic units. Today, let's get to know some of the people who will lead some of our hubs and schools. May I ask Dr. Marlu Vilches, Vice President for the Loyola Schools, to do the introductions.
Arte's incoming executive director is Dr. Estelle Marie Ladrido. Maitel is an assistant professor of the Department of Communication, in which she is currently the chair. She also used to lead the Konrad Adenauer Asian Center for Journalism. Before joining the academe, she was an independent producer who worked with a lot of major names in the media, from Jescom to Walt Disney Television. Maitel earned her doctorate in media and cinema studies from La Trobe University in Melbourne, Australia. Dr. Charlotte Kendra Gonzalez, Associate Professor at the Department of Environmental Science, is the next director of the Ateneo Institute of Sustainability. She's actually already an insider in AIS, currently serving as its program manager for climate change and disaster risk. Kendra earned her PhD in Earth and Atmospheric Sciences from Purdue University. Our incoming grade school headmaster is Mr. Jervy Robles. Jervy has been with AGS for 25 years. Since June last year, he has been serving as assistant headmaster for academic affairs. Before that, he was the assistant headmaster for student affairs, language subject area coordinator, and grade 5 level coordinator. Jervy holds an MA in Education from the National Institute of Education at Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. Our next senior high school principal is Mr. Noel Miranda, another Ateneo veteran. He has been with Ateneo de Manila for the past 22 years, 18 of those with a high school. At present, he is the senior high school assistant principal for non-academic formation. Prior to that, he was assistant principal for student affairs and formation. Outside of Ateneo de Manila, he served as a Jesuit volunteer assigned to Santa Maria Catholic School in Iloilo, now Ateneo de Iloilo. Noel has an MA in Theological Studies from Ateneo de Manila University. Our incoming Dean of the School of Social Sciences is Dr. Zarina Saloma Akpedunu, professor at the Department of Sociology and Anthropology. Bo Peep, as she is fondly called, is no stranger to leadership positions within Ateneo de Manila. She previously held the posts of chair of the Department of Sociology and Anthropology and director of the Institute of Philippine Culture. At present, she chairs the University Committee on Decorum and Investigation. Outside our university, She currently chairs the Technical Committee for Sociology of the Commission on Higher Education and was previously president of the Philippine Sociological Society. In 2007, she was named Outstanding Young Scientist by the National Academy of Science and Technology. Bo Peep holds an MA in Population Science from Peking University and a doctoral degree in sociology from the University of Bielefeld, Germany. Among the newest deans of the Loyola schools is Professor of Physics, Dr. Rafael Guerrero, who started his term as Dean of the School of Science and Engineering on April 1. Paeng has already held several leadership posts within and outside Ateneo. He has served as acting SOSE Dean and Chair of the Department of Physics. Since 2012, he has been a member of the Commission on Higher Education's Technical Committee for Physics. In 2013, he was named by the National Academy of Science and Technology as an outstanding young scientist for physics. Paeng holds a PhD in physics from the University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Thank you, Ma'am Marlu, for the introductions. We had we have numerous questions today via ateneo.edu/townhall, and this time, Father Bobby Yap will join me in asking the questions. Similar questions have been consolidated so as to avoid repetitive discussions. If you still want to ask a question, you may proceed to ateneo.edu/townhall/ask. The form will be closed 15 minutes before our event ends. So put in your questions now. We begin with a round table discussion. I will ask the deans and directors to take turns in answering each of these questions. So Ma'am Maitel, Ma'am Kendra, Ma'am Bopi, and Sir Paeng, get ready. These are the questions today. The first one is, what was your feeling when Father Bobby offered the position to you? The second one is, what motivated you to accept this leadership position? The third, what do you think are the strengths of the schools or institutes you are being asked to lead? And the last one, what are your hopes and dreams for the school or institute you are being asked to lead? So pick your best question and answer as best as you can. So we begin with Ma'am Maitel.
Hi, good afternoon. The first question was, how did I feel when it was offered? To be honest, I was a bit shocked. I didn't expect that the committee was taking me seriously when during the interview. I was quite candid during the interview. So, but to be honest, I was a bit intimidated. The prospect of succeeding the current director of Arete. No, I was a bit intimidated by the prospect and by the position itself. So I think that was the first reaction. I felt quite intimidated and small in comparison to the responsibility that was to be given to me, being offered to me rather. So it took a while before I said yes, mainly because of that. I felt afraid, but at the same time drawn. So there was also an attraction to it. It cannot be denied that I was attracted to it too, mainly because I thought that there was a lot of possibility for Arete and that it was very promising. And I really also hoped that to contribute to such an institution. So I saw a lot of opportunity for good, for it to accomplish so much good things. And I thought that if I could help in some way, then I was going to say yes. So there was that kind of balance. So yeah, that's the first question that.
Right. Thank you, Ma'am Maitel. We'll go to the others first, okay? Let's give you some breathing space there.
Thank you.
Ma'am Kendra, how about you?
Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I felt nervous excitement. Nervous because this is a new chapter, a new challenge, but at the same time excited because I think that Dr. Kang had already built strong foundations for AIS, and there were several directions that we could go into that that would be increasingly relevant, I think, for the needs of today. So it was exciting to consider the new adventures where we could take AIS both for the Ateneo and for the larger community.
Maraming salamat po, Ma'am Popi.
Hello, good afternoon. Um, I said no to the search committee um, because being dean was furthest in my mind. I thought it was not yet the time for me to serve as dean. Many other people can do a better job. But Father Bobby, Father Yap is a wise man. I had to accept his invitation to an interview. It was like an examen. He asked me what I did, what I do, my ideas on this and that. And at the end of the interview, my no became a wholehearted yes.
Okay po, mukhang malaman po yung yes na yon, napatahimik po tayo. So, let's move it to Sir Paeng. Kayo naman po before we go to the next round. Thank you, ma'am. Sir Paeng?
Good afternoon, everyone. When Father Bobby called to say that my appointment has been approved by the Board of Trustees, there was, of course, joy at the prospect of being trusted by the university with this very important position. And then came a moment of terror, just sheer terror, with regard to just the responsibility attached to the position. But I did promise Father Bobby that I was willing to serve, so I just accepted the position with that.
Reverse naman po natin yung order. Sir Paeng, what are your hopes and dreams for your work right now?
Well, I guess as with all administrators, I want to make a difference in a positive way. I want to continue the legacy of our school in terms of academic excellence and also find new ways of improving our performance as a teaching, research, and service institution.
Bo Peep, how about you?
All right. We must have already heard this being said, that many of the shortcomings of past and current solutions for the many problems of the times is the absence or lack of the social science perspective in these solutions. For the social sciences and the social scientists, not only of the Ateneo, to be part of the solution, we have to do some work from our end. So my hope, my plan is to promote the problem-solving mode in the social sciences. And I will start with the School of Social Sciences. My argument here is that in many spaces where many institutions are in varying forms of maturity, such as in our country and even in our own university with varying degrees of maturity in our processes and in our institutions, our goal should be not to only offer a critique or even offer an analysis, but to also solve a problem. The goal is not only to change things, but to consider what can be reproduced or retained when solving a problem. And so from the promotion of problem-solving mode in the social sciences, I hope that many things can flow from how we teach the undergraduate and graduate classes. So not only analysis, but applications, and how we conduct research, not only analysis and application, but publications, and also science communication. And let me just give a short example to illustrate, and this will also invite you to remember the campus. Remember the one-way traffic scheme on campus, which was introduced, I think, in 2011. I was a member of the Ateneo Traffic Group that Father Jet Villarin convened in 2011. We conducted a campus mobility study, a road inventory survey, moving vehicle survey. It was a truly interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary research team. And the one-way traffic scheme that we currently have, which we probably miss so much now during the COVID-19 pandemic, that we don't have to suffer under it, is a product of a study. We probably did not completely solve the problem, but the results of the study was applied, and we published the results of the study in a Scopus-listed journal. So the problem-solving mode that I hope that the school could adopt can also meet the Scopus publication goal of the university, but not only journal publications, but also crossover books and publications aiming at intelligent popularization of social science insights. So yeah, so in short, I hope we can promote the problem-solving mode in the social sciences.
Okay, Ma'am Opie. Ma'am Kendra and Ma'am Michael, do you have your dreams and hopes too?
Well, I think it has always been the vision for AIS to become a platform for inter and transdisciplinary work in sustainability. And so my hope for AIS is really to grow that vision, to make it more dynamic, to bring in people from the different schools and the community to take part in building the goals of AIS in reaching the SDGs, and to bring in a systems thinking mode of working into our operation. So I hope that we can grow AIS to have more functions in research and outreach, as well as in providing services across the different stakeholder groups. So not just to our immediate community, but also say to the private or business sector, NGOs and CSOs. And we're getting there, I think. I don't know if most people know this, but the Ateneo is the only academic representative in the NDRRMC. So we are fulfilling our role to bridge the different stakeholders, and I hope that we can take it further in the coming years.
Michael?
Okay. For me, the way I understand Arete, although honestly, Father Bobby told me that Arete is a project in the making. No? But I think when Father Jet established Arete, very clear to me was innovation. So as I see it, one of my dreams is really to be able to contribute to solving very wicked, complex problems. And I see Arete as a hub for it. And to be able to contribute to our country, solving these kinds of problems, bringing people together and solving actual problems using, to echo Dr. Bo Peep's, the problem-solving mode. So that is what I hope to be able to bring in to Arete. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, the first question that we gave was very important for our heads with Loyola schools and our unit directors as well. Now we ask the same question to Noel and Jervy. What was your feeling when Father Bobby offered the position to you? Simulan natin kay Sir Noel kasi ikaw yung unang binigyan ng position.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. I think I really was hesitant and a bit afraid when I was being considered to become the next principal in the senior high school. But after talking then to Father Bobby, I felt reassured by the support and parang the guidance, and I also said yes because of that. So I felt that there was much support. And siguro another thing that I considered was also parang a feeling of a sense of service to be able to contribute to the school and to the needs of the school. So those were the dominant feelings back then. Right now, it's more a feeling of parang trying to prepare myself, a feeling of apprehension, but also a bit of excitement because of the new things to come.
Thank you, Sir Noel. Sir Jervy?
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. I can still remember how long Father Bobby talked to me, around, I think, 80 minutes. And the question came in at the last part. And so I must admit that when he invited me, I knew what was going to be asked. But then again, he had a way of calming you down, preparing you for the final question. And so it started as parang kwentong buhay, and that felt good. Of course, when he eventually asked me about accepting the position or the role, I felt humbled. And of course, to be honest, this time around, I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no to Father Bobby because I think like many of you who are given such roles, it's not out of ambition that you take it, but it's actually out of commitment, duty, sense of obligation, and your love for your community that will make you say yes. So I said yes already. Thank you.
Salamat. Maraming salamat, Jerby. Baka maganda kung si Father Bobby naman yung magtanong sa inyo ngayon. So, I give Father Bobby the floor.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask first the basic ed leaders, Jervy and Noel. I know that the basic ed school year is already finished, and so I'd just like to ask. I think you've been reflecting on this. What is your quick assessment of how we delivered online learning in grade school and in senior high? Maybe we begin with Noel. Your quick assessment of what do you think how did we deliver it? It's a very unusual school year. How did we deliver the online learning in senior high and in grade school? Noel?
Thank you, Father Bobby. I think in the while you're in the middle of things, doing a lot of uh, maybe innovation and supporting and all of that, sometimes you don't get to appreciate maybe what you are able to do. But at the end of the school year, we're not yet done. No, we're not yet finished. But we're at this point in our school year, I can say that there are many, many things that I am very, very proud of in our school and grateful. Most especially, I think the most important maybe achievement that we have is I don't know, seen in the teachers, no, seen in the staff, in our way of adapting to the changed context. I really saw how much people gave of themselves and were truly generous, and how people extended themselves in order to be of I don't know of great service to the students, no? So taking a lot of time outside of their parang beyond school hours to interact with students, to reach out to them, to ensure that they are well, and so on. So I think in terms of yun, para the many things that I want to be grateful for in terms of like what we have achieved, it's really seeing that people have been truly generous and adapted to the situation very, very well and generously. You know? So also I think aside from that, there are things that I think we need to look into further. Currently, we are in the middle of doing our grades here in the senior high school. But for some of us, we're also doing our evaluation. So parang we'll probably see how well we did in the coming days as we continue to reflect on our experience this past year. But I think, I don't know, we will need to really see parang how much our students learned or grew up throughout this year based on our own ways to do that. So we've had different evaluations, and we'll continue to do that in the coming days. So yun, I think basically what I want to say is that I just came from one of our activities from the I don't know from the school. It's the appreciation day of our Office of Student Activities, and parang it's just so I don't know parang I just felt so happy to see all of the many things that our students were able to do in the area of student activities. In fact, despite all of the challenges of the online setup. So in short, parang I think the achievements that we have this year are really more about the, I don't know, the people that we have, no? The generosity of the people and how they've impacted others in the community. Thank you.
Yeah, Noel, just to quickly follow up, what are the areas which we think senior high school can do better for online learning for next school year? What do
I
you think,
think
just quickly?
Thank you, Father. I think one thing that was coming out from our own experiences in different ways, no, so is that realization that connection was very, very key, very, very important. No, by that I mean students' desire to really connect to their teachers, to connect with their fellow classmates, and even teachers connecting with each other. No? So parang I think we have to reflect on how our systems or structures, the way we do things, can help build connections. In fact, I think also once at the start of the pandemic, and because of all of the difficulties we've had, maybe there were many things in the area, for example, of social involvement or helping our immediate communities that we couldn't do. For example, we couldn't do our regular TD tutoring or tulong dunong tutoring. But I think in terms of areas for improvement, areas for growth, I think it should be looking for ways on how to make a contribution further in the community. So those are things that we want to reflect on some more and discuss in the coming days.
Okay, thank you, Noel. Same questions to Jervy. What's your quick assessment of how grade school delivered online learning?
Yes, Father. I believe the community did very well considering what we've gone through and what we've been through. Uh, I think there's a sense of fulfillment among teachers, students, and parents as well. No? And we're riding on a newly found confidence in online and teaching and learning. We have done a lot of things, no? But I think what I can um, say is we can attribute this growth, no, this growth to how we were prepared at the start. We owe our thanks to the SALT Institute, and we owe our thanks to the Learning Technology Support Group for preparing us through the ADL and for preparing us for the LMS. No, and I must admit also during the year we also have to calibrate our approach, because we have been constantly communicating and openly asking for feedback how to improve, and so we are constantly calibrating our approaches. In fact, we have very rich data already uh, regarding how we fared during the year. We've had a series of faculty conversations on our online learning, and we even sent out an online evaluation form to our parents and students. And so we're just gathering and collating the data so we can have a more or less um, substantial information to come up with data-driven decisions moving forward. But if you ask me, Father, what our achievements would be, probably I can say we now have an online or distance learning curriculum. One full year we have completed it, and what else? I think props to the student services, student activities department. No, we were able to translate some of our extracurricular activities online, like the virtual field trips, and also many of our formation programs. But of course, I would like to highlight what Father Salty initiated, no? And that's our social action outreach component, the Christmas for Others. And I want to echo also what Noel mentioned about the community. I think this will not be possible without the community because we truly helped one another reach this point.
Okay, and again, just to follow up, what do you think are the areas that grade school really needs to improve on as we're still going on online learning for the coming school year? What do you foresee that we really need to focus on as we deliver online learning in the coming school year?
I think Father, we need to go through all those evaluation forms and the results of the evaluation. But since I'm coming from the office of the academic affairs, no, I think we can still improve on assessments. No, if there's one thing we learned about assessments this year is that mm, we can't say that there's no such thing as one best assessment or type of assessment. We work towards a portfolio of assessment, no, for our students, and we also learned during the year that assessments is really a pillar of module design, and it shouldn't be only an afterthought. We should also protect the integrity of our assessments, and so we'll find ways and means to do that. But if there's another thing which we can probably explore, it would be student engagement, perhaps, and parental involvement. There should be presence and the balance of the two, especially in the lower years compared to the levels or of basic education. I think I can say that the presence and the assistance and the support of the learning partners will be very crucial for our younger students. And so that's about it, Father, top of mind.
Yes. Thank you, Jervy. I just noticed that the picture you sent us for the notice was you had shorter hair. I guess part of the lockdown has been difficulty of locating barbers. Now I'd like to turn to the directors of the two hubs, Kendra and myself. As you know, we're very happy with the THE impact ranking scores. We really did well. And these are the rankings of the social impact using the sustainable development goals. When I talk to alumni, they're very happy because we beat LaSalle by a big margin. That's the main concern. But really, it's a very important measure, I think. That's the type of ranking we want to be involved in. Many people have said that in among the different rankings, that's the one that's really closest to who we are and what we want to be as Ateneo. So I'd like to ask Kendra, Maitel, your university hubs, Institute for Sustainability, Arete, uh, we should be part of these impact rankings or this work for social development. Uh, our response to pursuing the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So, what do you think are the roles of your centers, your hubs in sustaining and even becoming better in our efforts to promote the Sustainable Development Goals? Maybe I'll begin with Kendra because I think it's easier for her to answer, and I give Michael more time to think about this.
Yes, because we're the Ateneo Institute of Sustainability, then we should
Yes.
be at the forefront of this. I guess at, at the onset, I'd like to say something about sustainability being what Simon Sinek would call an infinite game. He applies this mostly to businesses, but I think it's very applicable as well to the efforts we take towards sustainability because it's not some it's not a program with a well-defined start and end for which we can say that we've done our job. The target is always moving and the metrics might even change. So it's a matter of how long we can stay in the game and do well in that game. That's why sustainability is an infinite game. And I think part of our being able to sustain efforts in this field are, well, two things. First is by recognizing that the 17 SDGs are not really 17 separate SDGs. There are very much inherent interconnections between them, which we can take advantage of when we design and prioritize programs. So we can definitely come up with initiatives that can hit several birds with one stone and make the most efficient use of our resources. And second, I think we may also need to reframe what we mean when we talk about efforts in relation to SDGs. Definitely, in many cases, this does mean deliberately orienting our teaching, research, and service towards SDGs. But I think that it's also important to have a paradigm shift uh, and think about embedding SDGs into our operations as a university. For example, we should be thinking about climate action and clean energy in the way we design our campus and in decisions about appliances and whether we should be air conditioning so many classrooms. We should be thinking about life on land and in the water and responsible consumption when we review our procurement policies and our supply chain. And we should be thinking about good health and well-being as part of our developing the educational experience of our different stakeholders. And that's what it really means to have a systems approach to things. That we start with the mental model, with the paradigm of sustainability being something that is embedded into our DNA, into our identity as a university, rather than something that we always have to think of as uh, an additional priority. Right? It should be something that's embedded, and then communicate that. That's part of the identity then of the Ateneo, that we communicate to the larger community and to the different stakeholders that we deal in. So maybe that's one of the bases where I think that AIS can start to see what it takes to really enforce a sort of paradigm shift within us so that we can do a better job reaching out to everyone else.
Thank you. Maitel, your thoughts on Arete and sustainability and SDGs?
Thank you, Father. For me, as I see it, and I think I said as much to you during the interview that we had in your office. As I see it, no, Arete perhaps has a broader mandate in the area of creativity and innovation as that hub of Ateneo. But as I see it, no, creativity and innovation can be applied to all sorts of things, to actual concrete problems that are happening. And I said to you during my interview that I really don't see innovation for the sake of innovation alone, or creativity for its own sake. No, it's just creative because. But I see these two things as a way to harness energies in solving problems. So, if we see that, sustainability, in fact, I'd like to work with Kendra perhaps. If there is an opportunity to work with Kendra's institute, why not? No. But I see these things, like when we see that there are things that are not working properly or else could be improved, as for example, in the area of sustainability or the area of education, basic education, concrete problems that we're seeing today, but they are quite complex and avoid easy solutions. So they require innovation. They require creativity in looking for solutions, and there are no easy solutions as well. So in that sense, I see that Arate can contribute to the sustainability goals because its mandate is quite open. So in all those goals, we may be able to find problems that we can work on. And in fact, not only within Ateneo, but really to the society outside. So in assessing potential projects and in also looking at, for example, the sandbox project, I see that all of these could be opportunities for us to look at really innovative solutions to concrete problems. And that these, again, could always be in support of all those the SDGs. So that much, I think I have enough to say. I'm actually still transitioning into the things. So I'm slowly learning about where things are at. But as I see it, this about Arate has not changed and to continue. Thank you.
Yes, certainly our approach that we want to adopt interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary solutions, I think is very much symbolized by what Arete stands for. So it certainly has a place in whatever we do, whether it's for sustainability or for SDGs. I'd like now to turn to our two deans, staying with this idea of impact, social impact. I'd like to ask Bo Peep and Paeng, for SOSE, for social sciences, what future areas do you think you would like to go into for social engagement? Uh, we know that social engagement is a hallmark of a Jesuit university. So, what areas do you think would you like to bring your two schools in social engagement so that it has greater impact on sustainability and social development? So maybe we can start with Bo Peep.
Thank you, Father. All right, I'll look at social inequalities. Social inequality, and it can be approached different ways. And what I could give as an example is the study that research team conducted for the initiatives of the Office of the President when Father Ben Nebres was our president. So that was we did the study in 2008 to was around the time, and we were looking at our existing initiatives at the time, pathways to higher education, ACE, even the students, the social entrepreneurs, Happy Noi, Rugs to Riches. So we look at what works in addressing or in bridging poverty gap, which is actually also an issue of social inequality. Um, and our findings is that the Ateneo way of addressing poverty gap and the wider social inequalities is to make existing institutions fulfill their function. We don't have to, from the source, for example, go and create new institutions, new products. We first assess what can be retained. As I've mentioned in the problem solving mode, it's not always about introducing new things, but what can be retained, what can be reproduced, and making sure that what we have fulfill their function. And only when they don't seem to work, that then we change it. The other way by which the Ateneo addresses the poverty gap is to connect the need to the resources. And this is the university where we have all kinds of capital, from financial capital, we have the money, we have social capital, the networks, we have cultural capital, we have symbolic capital. And so we need to bring the resources, what we have in the university, in this area of addressing social inequality. Thank you, Father.
Okay, welcome. Maybe Paeng, what are there any particular areas that you think SOSE should address to better our impact on social problems and social concerns?
No, Father.
Like,
SOSE's mission includes driving sustainable and inclusive national development through education, research, innovation, and social engagement. The school's faculty social involvement team has recommended continuing work with our network of public high schools to improve the quality of secondary STEM education. We will also be expanding our faculty involvement in service learning. In terms of the research aspect of social involvement, more effective documentation of our work in this area will be needed. Structures will be put into place to facilitate the conversion of our social involvement output into academic publications. I believe that resources for social involvement can be made available given the proper impetus. The more immediate concern at this point is to increase faculty interest in this component of SOSE's mission.
thank you. Thank you. Last questions to the deans. The same question I asked. We're looking forward, or next year will still be online because of the circumstances. We're thinking it'll still be online basically. So, have you thought about what areas do we really need to improve as we deliver online learning for SOSE and for social sciences? Bopip?
Right. Okay. Um, we have had some difficulties with online learning, but I think, to borrow the word of the concept of plasticity in biology, I think in our behavior, people can also get used to things over time. And so the sociality with people mediated by objects, I think we can improve that more by putting in, or by reminding everyone, the reason why we teach, the reason why we are aiming to teach well. So I think we have to stick to the principles of cura personalis, magis. So when we encounter difficulties. I think that's in a way we have to talk about the formation aspect of our faculty members, asking how why we do what we are doing. That's one area. The other area of course is we need to think about the delivery. Technology, as we know, there's apparat guys, the spirit of the machine. The technology will influence, will shape our behavior, but we also have human agency, which can affect, which can influence how technology will work. So I think more discussions should be done with the faculty, with the students, with the staff. Um, Enable, at least in the source, we are social scientists, of course. We study and we create insights about things we study. We have to enable the members of the source of the university to express their views um, and work towards a certain process, a way of proceeding by which we can improve the delivery or the situation wherein we have online learning for the next years.
Thank you. Pang, same question to Pang. Well, what do you think science and engineering should do so that we can improve our delivery of online learning next school year? What are the areas of improvement?
Yes, Father. Well, we'll continue to advance excellence through our education efforts at the undergraduate and graduate levels. With the experience provided by this academic year, our faculty members are now better equipped to deal with the unique challenges presented by online learning. The departments will ensure that ideal practices will be followed by our faculty members with the necessary mechanisms for teacher and student support. Now, due to the restrictions imposed by the pandemic on our access to laboratories, SOSE is exerting considerable effort to develop appropriate and effective lab activities for our online courses. Research activities connected to the thesis or dissertation work of our students are also being reviewed and revised. So we're doing a lot of investigatory work in terms of making available laboratory activities as well as research work for our students.
This question, Pang, of quarterly or semestral, has SOSE figured it out what is best for SOSE type of subjects?
Yes, Father. The school is recommending implementing a semestral mode for all classes this next school year. We believe that the semestral mode allows us more time for teaching our students, allowing them to absorb and make better use of the ideas presented during online learning. There's also better spacing of requirements, which will reduce the anxiety for both faculty members and students.
Thank you. Fellow Ateneans, today we have introduced some of our new leaders. I would sincerely thank them, Bopip, Paeng, Kendra, Maitel, Jervy, and Noel, for their courage, for their generosity, and for their availability. Please allow me also to express my gratitude, our gratitude to our outgoing leaders for their majestuous service to the Ateneo. Dr. Didis Rodrigo of Arete, Executive Director of Arete, Dr. Achut Koyegkeng, Director of the Ateneo Institute for Sustainability, the late Father Salty de la Rama, Headmaster of Ateneo Grade School, Ms. Vichik Panlilio, Principal of the Ateneo Senior High School, Dr. Banjo Bautista, the Dean of School of Science and Engineering, and Dr. Nandi Aldaba, Dean of the School of Social Sciences. Maraming salamat sa inyo for your generous and outstanding service. Jonji?
Father Bobby, we have received a lot of questions about our university as regards to planning and moving forward in a post-COVID-19 world. Would you have some comments on this?
Thank you. Very good question. As we have seen in the past year, our situation here in the Philippines, using a cliche now, is really VUCA. Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. The situation is really uncertain, volatile, complex, and has a lot of unknowns. I can still remember around March just a few months ago, we felt that the pandemic was getting under control. We were moving to a lesser form of quarantine, less restrictive form of quarantine, and yet suddenly here we are, 2 months later. We're still very we're now very we're back to a very stricter form of quarantine. Nobody foresaw that. I think of India, for example, right now, when again about March, India was already declaring they had the pandemic under control, but in a few weeks' time, look at where they are now. It's really a very uncertain, volatile, complex, ambiguous situation, and for that, it is very difficult to plan. There are too many unknowns. So therefore, I think it is best that our university, that means both the institution and the whole community, we really need to respond in agile, flexible, creative, and innovative ways. As been already mentioned, the plans for the coming school year, 2021-2022, one of our main assumptions is that school year will still be fully online, and we are planning our programs and our processes that way. Of course, we are always aware we need to be agile and flexible. If we are allowed to somehow come back to face to face, to in person, we will, because we know that face to face in person is really still first best. There are many things that we know are really important in face to face interaction. We need a community of learners who are physically present to each other. That's very clear. So when we are allowed to do that, we shall. And we just have to be flexible. And in fact, I think you already also know that the School of Medicine already has been permitted and allowed to do limited face-to-face classes, and they were starting to do it, except that the surge happened, and Dean Dodi Alfonso had to say, well, let's pause for a while for it. But in spite of that we are part of our agility, in spite of the uncertainty, we do our talking and planning, discussing possible scenarios for face-to-face, in-person learning and teaching in case we are allowed to and when we are able to. There are many ideas that are being talked about. We will perhaps do a gradual return to the campus in phases. Not everybody will come back at the same time. There's a certain possibility that we might go for a blended type of system. Although we know that online is second best, but we know also that there are certain advantages to the digital technology, to the learning management platforms that are there, and we can certainly use some of that. The availability of resources being uploaded and available online, the ability to do asynchronous, the ability to do offline discussions among yourselves, and 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 the different technologies that can be used. So we are thinking that it looks like we will have to design a blended sort of learning system when we come back, blended with online and face to face. There's been discussion, especially for the basic ed, that we might go for real shifting of classes, like have a morning session and an afternoon session, so that because when we come back, perhaps we cannot go back to the full classroom of 20 or 40 people. We need maybe to cut it in half. So maybe that morning afternoon shift would be possible, and many other routes forward. I'd like to assure the community that we are already starting to talk about this and think about it. Although we know that we are assuming we will be fully online, but we will be agile and flexible, and we will be responsive when we'll be allowed to. I'm also glad that many have asked about our medium and long-term plans. I'd like to inform the community that for months now, we have been in the process of reviewing AMDG 2030. That was the strat plan I inherited. It was worked on about 3 years ago, and when I came in, that was the strategic plan that was already approved by the board. But then we realized that because the environment has changed, the opportunities and threats have changed, we do need to revisit that plan. So we have been doing that, and with the help of the Strategy and Quality Management Office led by Teret Santos, we have been participating in a series of learning sessions online, taking a good hard look at our strengths and weaknesses and the challenges and opportunities we face in our mission. The learning session participants included our Board of Trustees, the President's Council, all the VP and school councils, representatives of the various sanggunians, faculty, alumni, parents, and even some representatives of external partners. We've had the opportunity to listen to experts both here and abroad, and the learning sessions have given us a lot to ponder about and as we examine and reassess the path forward. This strategic review is still ongoing, and I will keep you posted and updated about where this is going and what shape is it coming to be as we revise our strategic plan for the next couple of years. Thank you, John G.
Salamat, Father Bobby. I guess that is all the time we have for today. But before we end, Father Bobby has some updates regarding our university's COVID-19 initiatives.
A few days ago, people were observing that those who was to stay on campus, that there's been a lot of traffic, especially around Gate 1, Gate 2. And that's because the grade school cafeteria has seen a lot of activity this week because since Tuesday, the Ateneo Grade School has been serving as a vaccination site for the Quezon City LGU. Our city's local government is the one handling the vaccination operations. We have simply provided the venue and the facilities. But I'm very happy to note that the students of our School of Medicine and Public Health, ASMPH, the students have been helping out as volunteers at that vaccination center. The vaccination center will operate as long as needed. Um, and if you live in Quezon City and already qualified to receive the vaccine, that means you're one of those priority groups. I think they're in A3 now. You can register to your vaccination slot and you can choose that you be vaccinated at Ateneo de Manila grade school if you're a Quezon City resident. Um, so I'd like to say that the whole operations there is really run by the Quezon City local government, and we're very happy to cooperate and offer the space for this vaccination program. I'm also happy to announce that soon we will launch what we are calling Blue Swab. This is a drive-through and walk-through COVID-19 swabbing facility. We've already announced, and I think you've seen the pictures and the news, that we now have Amplify, which is a COVID-19 testing lab, which uses the RT-PCR machines, the gold standard of COVID testing. But when we set that up, designed it, initially we did not provide for swabbing. So the lab is there, the machines are there, the personnel are there, but there is no place to go to be swabbed. In fact, the first customers of Amplify was really the Jesuit residents, the Jesuits there, and we had to arrange for swabbing at the JR because the whole community had to be tested. So we realized that to make this testing lab much better, we do need to open a swabbing facility where people can go to and have themselves swabbed, and the samples will be tested by our Amplify testing lab. So we are planning this. It will be near gate 2.5. It will be drive-through. Cars can go through it, and there's also a walk-through area. And we will try to set it up as quickly as possible so we can offer the services to our community in Quezon City, in Loyola Heights, and also for our own Ateneo community. Amplify and the Office of the Vice President for Administration and Information Systems are in the process of setting up the system, including the online appointment system. Blue Swab is our way of helping in the ramping up the testing, particularly in Metro Manila. I encourage you to visit our COVID-19 portal for more information on these initiatives. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Father Bobby, for the updates. We end today's gathering by asking the help of our Blessed Mother to place us always closer to her side. Thank you for joining today's University Town Hall meeting with the President. We invite you to visit www.ateneo.edu for regular updates. See you again in the next University Town Hall meeting. May God bless us all, and please stay safe.